I talk a lot on this channel about where one figure or another goes on your Form 1040, but I've never really covered the 1040 itself and the role it plays in reporting and calculating your income and other taxes. Well, I'm about to rectify that situation. I'm the Tax Geek, and here's Form 1040, oversimplified. Form 1040 has been around since the modern income tax was enacted in 1913. The form is numbered 1040 simply because this was the next number in the form numbering sequence established when the IRS, then called the Bureau of Internal Revenue, was created in 1862. The form has evolved a lot over the last 110 years. Our present Form 1040 has its roots in the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017. After a brief flirtation with a half-page postcard form in 2018, Form 1040 was expanded back to the two-page form it is today. The form largely outlines the tax computation process. It starts with identifying and basic filing information, then goes on to income, deductions, tax, credits, payments, outcome, and signatures. As we go through the form, you'll see thumbnails pop up, giving more details about what I'm describing. A card linking to a playlist of all the videos referred to in this video should show up above. You'll also find links to all these videos in this video's description. The first part of Form 1040 is called the header. It contains basic identifying information about the taxpayer, spouse, and their dependents if any. Since filing status has the largest impact when it comes to calculating your taxes, it only makes sense that the first question you answer is your filing status. Also found in the header is any special information that affects the standard deduction and a question about digital assets. The next major section is the income section. Here, you'll find lines for each of the most common sources of income, showing both the total and taxable amounts of several different types of income. Do you have income that's not listed here? Schedule 1, page 1 shows most types of income not listed on the main Form 1040. Some of these forms of income, such as business, rental, and farming income, require additional schedules and forms to calculate. After your total income is summed up, we move into the Adjustments and Deductions section of Form 1040. Adjustments used to have a section of Form 1040 all to themselves, but now the total adjustments just show up on one line, and the individual adjustments are listed on page 2 of Schedule 1. Now it's time to decide. Will you take the standard deduction, or will you itemize deductions? Whatever you decide, your total deductions are entered on line 12, except for one. If you have qualified business income, your qualified business income deduction shows up on line 13. QBID is calculated on Form 8995. I promise I'll get to a video on Forms 8995 and 8995A just as soon as I can figure out how to oversimplify them. After your adjustments and deductions are subtracted from your total income, you'll arrive at the final figure on page 1 of Form 1040, your taxable income. From here we move on to page 2. Now it's time to calculate your income tax. You can use the tax tables if your taxable income is less than $100,000, the tax rate schedules if it's more, or a qualified dividends and capital gains worksheet if your income includes those items. When I've talked about your tax liability in past videos, I'm referring to this number. At this point, you might be liable for a couple of additional taxes, such as alternative minimum tax, which is another future topic, or an advanced premium tax credit repayment. These taxes are listed on Schedule 2, Part 1, totaled and entered on line 17. Now it may be time for you to take some credits. We'll start with the child or other dependent credits, and we'll add any non-refundable credits from Schedule 3, Part 1 on line 20. Whoops! Time for more taxes. These taxes include such items as self-employment tax or penalty taxes related to tax-deferred retirement accounts. These taxes are listed in Schedule 2, Part 2, totaled and entered on line 23. After all these credits and additional taxes, the amount on line 24 is your total net tax. This figure, and not your refund or balance due, is the most important number on your tax return. Now it's time to pay for it all using the payment section. Payments come in two types: direct payments such as withholding or estimated payments, and refundable tax credits such as the Earned Income Credit, Refundable Child Tax Credit, or the American Opportunity Credit. If you have additional refundable credits, they are listed on Schedule 3, Part 2, totaled and entered on line 31. All the payments and refundable tax credits are then totaled and compared with the total tax on line 24. If the payments are higher than the tax, you are entitled to a refund. If the payments are less than the total tax, you'll have to pay some additional money to make up the difference. If you're lucky enough to be getting a refund, you can designate a direct deposit account for that refund, or you can let the IRS keep some or all of the refund towards next year's taxes. It's time to wrap up Form 1040. You can designate a third party to discuss your return with the IRS if the need arises. This is usually a paid preparer, but you can designate anyone else you like, or no one at all. You and your spouse must sign the return or an electronic filing declaration. Your tax return is not a completed legal return until it is signed. You must also list your occupation. Remember, everyone has an occupation, even if it's student, unemployed, retired, or homemaker. If you pay someone to prepare your taxes, the Paid Preparer section of Form 1040 must be filled out completely. All persons who prepare taxes for money must, by law, have a Professional Tax Identification Number, or PTIN, issued by the IRS. If you pay someone to do your taxes and they refuse to fill out this section of the return, do not allow them to file your return. And please keep in mind that even if you have your taxes professionally prepared, you are legally responsible for the accuracy of the information on the return. I hope you learned something from this trip through Form 1040, and as a result, understand your taxes a little better. If you did, a like on the video would be most appreciated. Subscribe to see other oversimplifications of our complex tax system. And your questions, comments, and suggestions are always welcome in the comment space below. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon with more of Your Taxes Oversimplified.